This episode of TechZilla is sponsored by NVIDIA, Domain.com, and the NHTSA's national campaign against drunk driving. Coming up on today's show, has Veronica found the best mobile recording tool ever? Will Harris from ChannelFlip joins us to help our non-US viewers buy stuff from outside the US. And the Asus Eee PC, major updates. Is it finally the ultra-portable PC you've been waiting for? Do us a favor, pull on some pants and button that shirt, because TechZilla starts now. Welcome to TechZilla. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Is it true that you actually, really, when you grow up, want to be a dancing panda?
You're not supposed to tell people that.
Sorry.
I'll never be able to realize my dreams as a dancing panda if everyone knows.
Maybe they'll send you a dancing panda suit.
Maybe.
That's an interesting mental image.
A girl can hope.
I heard you had an exciting weekend.
I did. I was at the New Media Expo down in Las Vegas. It was very, very fun. I finally got to meet all the people I've been wanting to meet forever in podcasting and blogging, like Scott Johnson from The Instance and Extra Life Radio. And then I hung out with Felicia Day, Leo, iJustine, Drew Olenoff, Steve Garfield, all tons of people that you probably know from Twitter and that kind of thing. Oh, the guys from the Clip Show.
Cool kids.
Yeah, it was really fun. I had a blast. We went to some parties. We hung out at the Double Down.
I don't even go there. The best place to hang out in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it was awesome because I literally walked into the door and I was like, oh, this is such a breath of fresh air, which is kind of ironic considering it was full of cigarette smoke and it was kind of stinky and smelled like stale beer. But it was like a dive bar, and that's all I wanted to hang out at because Vegas is just too like crazy.
And no slot machines.
No slot machines. Actually, I think
none that go bing, 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 bing,
that's true.
Bing, 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 bing,
that's true. The
bing,
jukebox
bing, bing, bing,
ruled,
bing.
and I think everyone had a fun time, and I'm glad I got to meet some of you guys out there.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Did you pay for the puke insurance? Did you puke on the floor?
I did not puke on the floor. I did not, thankfully, puke on the floor.
Did you puke elsewhere that night?
Moving on, are you ready to start helping some people?
Absolutely.
Excellent. As you know, last week a viewer had questions about tech support on his parents' PC for doing it remotely. We offered a couple of suggestions, including VNC and GoToMyPC.com, but many of you, and I do mean many, had alternative selections.
It was crazy. I don't think we've ever gotten this many emails about a single question ever. Literally somewhere upwards of, I think somewhere between 150, 200 emails on this. By far the most popular suggestion was log me in at secure.logmein.com. LogMeIn provides a number of remote access options for enterprise, tech support, and of course home users, which is like you and me. The plus is that they also provide a limited version of their service that provides basic remote desktop access for nada, for free. And like GoToMyPC, it supports both PCs and Macs.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I think I might have to hook up my mom with that one now that it's free.
Yeah, and it was absolute news to us, so thank you guys for sending that one in.
Right. The next popular response on the suggestion ladder is Microsoft's Live Mesh Remote Desktop. Live Mesh is a software plus services platform, essentially a web-based platform to enable data synchronization between varying devices and users. So Live Mesh Remote Desktop is one of the services provided for in Live Mesh. Currently, it's in tech preview mode.
Some people love it, some people hate it. It's like Gmail, it's in beta. Ah. Except this really is a beta.
That's a fancy one.
Finally, we have TeamViewer, another remote access service. TeamViewer provides remote desktop services, including remote boot, and reconnects back to TeamViewer as a free service for non-commercial use, which basically means if you're not using it for business, you can use it for free. It also has cross-platform control between OS X and Windows. Another great suggestion.
Yeah, totally. Wow, that was a lot of great ideas from everyone. So Desra, if you're watching, you might also want to give these ideas a try also. And a very big thanks to Tom, Eric, Avinash, Alex, Gordon, Frank, Ronald, Andre, Ivan, Dan, Stephen, Oliver, Francisco, Igor, James, Deanne, Sean, Michael, Howard, Rusty, Allie, Derek, Christopher. Oh man, this could go on forever.
We want to thank everybody, and we do mean everybody, for emailing us with your suggestions. TechZilla at revision3.com, of course, is the place to send those into. Questions, product reviews, tech questions, suggestions, software we missed. We'd love to hear about it. Thank you.
All that super stuff. But we want to take a moment now for an important message by the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration and their national campaign against drunk driving. In 2006, 13,470 people were killed in alcohol-impaired driving crashes. These fatalities accounted for 32% of the total motor vehicle traffic fatalities in the United States. But it's not just automobile drivers that need to be aware. Alcohol also accounts for a significant number of motorcycle rider fatalities. The age groups 30 to 39 and 40 to 49 are those with the highest rates of alcohol involvement for motorcycle riders killed in fatal crashes. So if you're planning to drink alcohol with a friend, please designate a sober driver before going out and give that person your keys. And remember, violators often face jail time, the loss of their driver's license, higher insurance rates, and dozens of other unanticipated expenses from attorney fees, other fines and court costs, towing and repairs, lost time at work, etc. So be smart and stay safe. Don't drink and drive.
Welcome to this week's Freebie Download Pick, a free program that we find useful, fun, or incredibly interesting. This week's pick, RegToy. If you're serious about tweaking Windows to get the most out of your system, then you need to check out RegToy. This registry tweaking utility groups a whole lot of functions into a compact, if somewhat intimidating interface. Be warned, RegToy is not for the faint of heart, but if you're an experienced Windows power user, you should be in heaven. Most of the options are basic on-off selections grouped into System, User, and other sections. System covers things like Windows startup options, file system settings, and memory cache tweaks. User covers all the UI stuff, including icons, taskbar, and start button functions, and even some Vista-specific items like turning off Windows Defender, yay, or enabling specific application compatibility modes. RegToy also includes a Start Center with some super useful tools, including file encryption, a file cleaner to remove old or unneeded files, a file shredder, and of course registry backup and restore just in case you do something bad and accidentally hose everything. While RegToy might not be the best documented tool out there, it is powerful and very functional. So if you've got an itch to tweak and optimize Windows, put RegToy in your must-have tool list. And did we mention it's free?
The new school year is right around the corner. And a lot of you are asking
you don't miss college?
No, not really, not so much. A lot of you are asking if the new Asus Eee PC is powerful enough to be a serious alternative to traditional laptops, like this email from Marcus. Marcus wrote, I see the Asus 900 series is out for sale now, and there are pictures of the 1000 series on the Asus website. I'm excited to read about a larger screen and other improvements over the original. Have you had a chance to feel out the newer models to see if this is the ultra mobile PC that we've been waiting for? Marcus. And while we're at it, Dmar is wondering what this whole netbook phenomena is all about. JD wants to know if the Eee PC would be good for taking notes in class and doing word processing. And quite a few other folks are curious about the Eee PC and other ultra portables.
Okay, essentially Asus, Acer, MSI, and quite a few other manufacturers are producing ultra-portable notebooks like this one. Apple's $1,800 MacBook Air with its 13-inch screen would be kind of the high end. Asus's first generation, 2G, 4G running Linux, 512 megabytes of RAM and a 7-inch screen. You can buy one now. The 2G you can buy now for like $300 bucks.
Ooh, not bad.
Not
a lot of
bad.
people love them too.
Yeah, the first generation ones were pretty difficult to use. The processor was tiny, there was no memory, it was slow and miserable. So if you got my review of the first generation Asus Eee PCs, well, and they're pretty much the high profile in this whole netbook. These super ultra portable, don't have an optical drive devices. And they're popping up all over the place. Knows that I was less than thrilled with the processor and the battery life. The new Eee PC 900, which Veronica is gently fondling to my left, is a huge improvement in usability.
It's like a Fisher-Price laptop.
You like that, huh?
It's like I want to cuddle with it because it's so tiny and warm.
It's
like
got
a little,
certain
like a
my first laptop feel to it. It's a huge improvement over the original models in usability because it has a big step up on the processor and the battery life is doing pretty good. I actually got close to 2 hours of battery life out of it with the Wi-Fi on. This is not one of the new Atom-powered machines. Those would be the 901 or the 1000. Now the 900 right here, 1.8 pounds, an 8.9-inch screen, a 1024 by 600 resolution, what they call a 0.83 keyboard. It's going to take time to get your fingers trained to this, and frankly, if you're a touch typist, carrying a full-size keyboard around, especially if you type fast to take notes, might be a very good idea.
It's not that bad.
Type something fast, like open up WordPad or something.
Oh, I got it right on the first try that time. Yeah, the one thing I don't really like, oh, actually, I did not get it right. Never mind. That was a lie. The clickies here,
yeah, the
mouse buttons are not great. They're a little hard to push.
Cool because usually like two-finger gestured for scrolling.
And you can tap for clicking also on the touchpad.
Buttons Go ahead, yeah, click one up by your mic so people can hear
That's
that.
a technical term, by the way, clicky things.
Clicky things.
That's I learned that at CNET, actually.
They feel like they take like 10 pounds of pressure.
It's really hard to push them down.
This was like,
that's kind of, yeah, I would go with using the tapping on the touchpad instead of using the buttons, personally.
Yeah.
Unless you have to right click.
It's definitely a little aggressive for those. Gigabyte of RAM on board, which is a huge improvement over the 512 in the last, or 526, whatever it was in the last model we tested. Our version had a 12 gigabyte solid state drive for storage, so no hard drive to break, which is good. And there's an SD card slot if you want more storage. It's all powered by an Intel Celeron M processor running at 900 megahertz. It sells for $549 online. Unless you get the Linux version, the free operating system takes $150 off the price, and you can pick it up for $400. The new Atom-powered models are the 901, $600, essentially the same as the 900, only with the Atom processor, 20 gigabytes of storage. It's a little heavier, but they're claiming like 7.5 hours of battery life because the architecture is more efficient on the processor. I want to get my paws on one to see it. The 1000, $670. It's got a big ol' whopping 10-inch screen, a 40 gigabytes of storage, 1 gigabyte of RAM, has wireless Wi-Fi N, and it's of course bigger, like 10.5 by 7.5 by 1.5, and weighs a hefty 3 pounds. And again, Asus claims about 7.5 hours of battery life. Battery life is somewhere the specs and the real world expectations can clash. On the first generation EPCs, Asus gave battery life estimates with Wi-Fi off or a blend of Wi-Fi on and off during use, which seems weird to me because the whole idea of a netbook is that you're connected to the internets all the time. Do you ever run with your Wi-Fi turned off when there's Wi-Fi? Exactly.
Not so much, unless I'm actually plugged in.
Yeah, I mean, in this version of it, they're much more, you know, in the first generation, they're like 4 hours of battery life if your Wi-Fi's off. And I got like an hour and a half. This time I was getting close to 2 hours with the Wi-Fi on all the time. I did have a couple of issues with this EPC. The screen, not very bright, so if you're trying to use it outdoors, it can be frustrating. Standby mode chewed through a lot of battery life. Think 50% overnight from a full charge. As in, I took it off the charger, I put it in my backpack, and the next morning it was down to 50%. Running in standby mode. That's a little frustrating, especially since we couldn't hibernate to save more battery life because there was no space on the hard drive. The drive in our test unit, now you're going to laugh. The way it's built, they have a 4 gigabyte SSD, basically like 2 chunks of SSD memory, or basically 2 chunks of flash memory used for storage. A 4 gigabyte version, or a 4 gigabyte chunk, and an 8 gigabyte chunk on our device. Windows was installed on the 4 gigabyte partition, which was like 3.75 gigabytes after it was formatted. That's fine for the basic XP install, but created lots of problems when we started running Windows updates. Like there wasn't enough room to install Service Pack 3. We had to download SP3 manually, put it on the other drive, install it back on the first drive, do the hokey pokey. And additional, basically like between the SP3, Service Pack 3, and a graphics drive update, we had a whopping 90 megabytes of drive space left, which Windows does not like so much because the scratch partition keeps bumping into things. And
I'm laughing because I just got that warning as I was trying to watch Techzilla Daily.
Windows is running out of space. Everything's going to stop. Now, so we flipped the install to put the operating system on the larger, the 8 gigabyte chunk of drive. All the apps on this machine are already there. Works. It's got a nice open source suite. We're installed in that. Will it work as a note-taking machine, a basic portable remote control for your home theater PC, something you can give the kids to bang around with? Absolutely. And you know what? It is so much more usable than the first generation. And I got to say, I like the Windows XP a lot better than I like Linux running on this.
Really?
Yes, actually. There's nothing wrong with the Linux version, but I think Windows does a little bit better job with battery life management. Send the hate mail to patrick@version3.com if you disagree.
Well, that takes away so much of the fun nerdiness of it.
Well, you know, it's still pretty nerdy.
It's still kind of nerdy.
It's still pretty nerdy. 3 USB ports, a VGA output, the SD card slot for additional memory. Oh, and I completely forgot to mention the little built-in web camera.
1.3 megapixel built-in camera.
Just the thing for those Skype calls.
Keeps the weight down, you know, when the megapixels are lower. Those megapixels, they pack a pound, let me tell you.
It actually has almost as much computing power as your iPhone. Actually, it's got more computing power than your iPhone.
It took me a minute to, I was trying to figure out if you were making fun of me or not, so I had to think about it for like a second, and then I realized you weren't.
What we do really want is more battery life. We'll check out some more of other, some additional models as they become available for testing for some other manufacturers too. I do want to see those Atom processors. I really want to see, because if those are taking it from like 2.5 hours to 7 hours, that would be huge, and make it, you know, because right now if you have 2 classes back to back, you're going to be running around with your power supply looking for a place to plug in.
I'm going to take this one with me now, so.
Just Okay, just
No, it's cool.
goes back to Asus when you're done.
No, no.
No? I'll send the Asus people after you. I think it's time we took a look at another video email while someone tracks down Veronica. Take it away, Z-Man. Veronica? Veronica? Veronica?
Hey guys, Z-Man here. I'm looking for a 34mm express card to fit into my express slot on my MacBook Pro that will add two USB ports to my MacBook Pro. You guys have any ideas for me? I can't seem to find one.
Well, frankly, I'm glad he's bringing this up. I mean, I always just kind of put the eVideo cards in there, but I never really thought about using it for something else, like extra USB ports or something of that nature. That's a pretty good one. And there's actually a lot of great stuff from Belkin. There's the ExpressCard Notebook expansion dock. If you really want to soup things up a bit, not only will you get those two extra USB ports you're looking for, but also a whole buttload of audio ins and outs, including 5.1 surround sound.
What does a buttload of audio inputs and outputs look like?
All sorts of stuff.
Yeah, you can also get those USB ports without needing an entire separate dock. A quick search on Newegg brings up a bunch of products, almost all of which are under 50 bucks. You can get wireless adapters, USB extensions like you're looking for, parallel ports, fire wires, and quite a bit more. Who knew there were so many express cards?
I know. Well, you know, it's only really been around for the past 3 years that they've been using it all the time. And I mean, they come automatically in MacBook Pro, so that's nice.
But yeah, and almost nowhere else. It's one of these like USB ports were around for years, and then when the original, I want to say the original iMac came out, all of a sudden there were all these USB accessories and USB printers.
I love them.
Sometimes
I love USB things.
They make you happy.
They do. For some reason, I don't know, like Lisa Bettany from MostlyLisa.com had this little USB dongle guy that was shaped like a man. So he was a USB extender. So he had all his little arms and legs sticking out were all USB things.
Oh, weird.
It was really cool, actually.
It made you very happy.
I like stuff like that. I don't know why.
You're like shiny, you're so happy.
I'm like a crow. I see something shiny, I'm like, Gah! Anyhow.
It would explain all that stuff you plug into your notebook every time you sit down.
Yeah. I don't have that much stuff.
A USB coffee warmer?
I don't have that. I don't actually own that. Don't listen to him. I don't have any of those things. Anyhow, if you want to get your 15 seconds of internet fame, send us a video. All you need to do is record yourself in front of a video camera asking a question no longer than 15 seconds. Then upload them to YouTube and email us a link with video question in the subject line and no attachments. You've been good about that, so thank you.
Yay.
Yay. Yay.
It's time now to thank one of our sponsors, Domain.com. I am pleased to say the folks at Domain.com are back supporting Tekzilla, and they put together an exclusive offer for the Tekzilla community. Use the coupon code TECH1 when you're checking out for a 25% discount on domains, hosting, and quite a bit more. For domains, that's $6.71 out the door. No gimmicks, no strings attached, no weird fine print. Plus, take 25% off Domain.com's secure, reliable hosting plans. Whether you're looking to start up a blog or a new business, Domain.com's hosting plans will get you up and running. And if you type in the coupon code TECH1, you're going to save 25% off on all Domain.com hosting plans. As always, we ask you to support us by supporting our sponsors, like Domain.com.
Looks like it's time for another websites we just can't get enough of. A website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. Today's pick, the very funny PassiveAggressiveNotes.com. Here at Tekzilla, we know a few things about being passive-aggressive. You're really wearing that shirt for the entire show? Or just flat-out aggressive, really. So we've come to love this website that features the cream of the crop of passive-aggressive notes left by irate coworkers, roommates, or complete and utter strangers. The general definition they go by is cited from the New York Times. The classic description of the behavior captures a stubborn malcontent, someone who passively resists fulfilling routine tasks, complains of being misunderstood and underappreciated, unreasonably scorns authority, and voices exaggerated complaints of personal misfortune. A surprising number of these notes have to do with shared kitchens and offices and mess, including vomit in apartment building hallways. If you want to contribute, simply take a photograph of the note in its current location and send it in. Readers will often write a little backstory about the note, but more often than not, they tend to speak for themselves. Whatever you do, don't miss out on reading the comments for each post. There, people have their revenge on the note writer by correcting the usually bad grammar and spelling, and generally putting the passive-aggressive jerk right in their place. All right, I think we got another email on hand. This one is from Innocent. He writes, I live in Trinidad. You talk about a lot of stores to buy electronics and PC parts online, but can you also suggest places that accept international credit cards and ship internationally? I only know of Tiger Direct. Do you know any others? The Innocent. Well, in a sense, since we got Will Harris here from ChannelFlip, we'd figure we'd drag him out onto the set to talk about some options. Just so you know, Will is a resident of the British Isles, so who better to ask?
Being international.
Being international, it's very important. So, British smart guy, your accent leads me to believe that you are very intelligent, far above my normal mental level. So, what are some good tips?
If only everybody else would believe that as well. So, here's the problem, really. Most US websites where you would buy all your lovely gear for your computer for whatever you're doing, they do not ship internationally. Credit card firms hate it because they don't like to authorize international payments. They don't like to ship it because you've got all sorts of hassles with couriers. And so basically it makes it really hard if you're outside the US to buy anything from inside the US. So the question is, why do you want to buy from inside the US? Well, stuff is a lot cheaper. The dollar is not particularly strong right now.
Thanks, just rub it in, why don't you? Thanks.
Yeah, so you look at something like the latest Intel Core 2 Quad Extreme processor. It goes for about $1,500 here. In the UK, it goes for the equivalent of about $2,000. So you could save like $500 just by shipping it in. The other reasons you'd want to buy from the US, stuff comes out here earlier. There's much greater selection, and a lot of places, like Trinidad and Tobago, there's not just a great web commerce infrastructure. So shipping from the US is a really good idea.
So what are some of your favorite sites?
So Tiger Direct is a really good one. You guys always recommend Newegg on the show.
Yes, we do.
Very good site, absolutely zero international capability whatsoever. You can't pay for anything internationally, you can't ship it internationally. So Tiger Direct, you can ship internationally, but you've got to use a wire transfer. They don't take international credit cards, and nobody really likes doing wire transfers. That's
kind of annoying.
Yeah. So the only other site that I could find that was in the US that sells decent computer equipment is Directron. So Directron.com, they will ship internationally. They'll also ship to PO boxes. But again, you've got the option of mailing a check or paying by wire.
Wow.
Neither of which are particularly great options, but they're about the best you're going to get. So there are a couple of hacks you can do to get around this. You could set up yourself with a PO box. So there are some companies that will offer PO box addresses in the States, but you've still got to sort out the payment issues.
Can you use PayPal or something like that to transfer money that way?
So most professional sites, or rather most sort of full-time commercial sites, won't take PayPal. What you could do if you're feeling like you want that PayPal groove is you go to eBay. Most computer resellers on eBay will ship you stuff internationally, but you can take that with all the salt that you want, because buying off eBay is fraught at the best of times.
Oh, I don't know. eBay's not that bad. Really? You've had that much bad times with eBay?
Don't ask me about eBay. I'm still down about $2,000 thanks to eBay.
Oh, man.
But they are an option for shipping. There are also some Amazon affiliates, so a lot of the stores that will send you stuff on Amazon.com when Amazon doesn't fulfill the order, they will often ship internationally and let you pay through the Amazon payment system. And if you've got an Amazon local store in your country, that's quite a good idea.
So how often do you buy stuff from the US?
I buy stuff from the US fairly often, but I take the mule methodology, which is either someone that I know is going to the US and I can get them to smuggle something back through customs, or I'm here myself and I can buy something. And that's another thing to be aware of when you're buying stuff internationally, shipping it across borders. You're going to have local taxes, and that can often cut out any benefit from buying abroad. Because you're just going to get knocked for more money when the stuff comes in. You can try and get the vendor to mark it down and say it's not really worth anything, but then if it goes missing in the post, you're not going to get the insurance money back, right? And it's technically illegal, so you shouldn't really do that.
That's pretty brutal. I actually had a friend, O from Extra Life Radio, was trying to get a Nintendo Wii, and they didn't sell them anywhere in Colombia, where he lives. And so he had his friends buy him one in the US and then mail it to him in Colombia, but it got held over at customs for like 2 months.
So that's a good reason why often it's if you're buying enough stuff, it's sometimes worthwhile just to get a plane ticket, fly over, buy the stuff you want, and fly back, because it works out cheaper than buying it locally. A good trick to do is take the thing, if you're buying like a laptop, take the laptop out, carry the laptop back with you like you carried it with you into the country, and FedEx the box back, because if the box gets stopped by customs, the box is worth nothing. Not that I would advocate cheating your local tax collecting authorities.
Not at all. Well, that is definitely some sage advice. Any other tips?
Well, the only other thing to be aware of is that if you're buying from the US, a lot of companies, the warranty is only valid in the US. So once you get it back home, if it breaks, you're stuffed.
Tough luck.
But that's the risk you take for saving the money.
But it's worth it to get our fine goods, right?
Absolutely, your fine American produce.
Fine American produce.
Well,
China. Thank you so much for coming in. And if you want to catch up on what Will's been doing, check out ChannelFlip at channelflip.com. We're on our last week of the Badass Gaming PC build here on the show, sponsored by NVIDIA. And the past few weeks, we took a look at the parts, the assembly, and the games. Today, let's talk about optimizing Vista in preparation for the benchmarks. Travis wrote in quite the email, wondering where our benchmarks were on our Badass Gaming PC. Here's a snippet he wrote to vent him before he got into a rage. Did you guys even bother to benchmark the system? And the last tisk I will give you is that you need to do some basic optimization of your OS in order to get the most out of your hardware. I would type you a guide, but I have a life. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, especially in Vista. Don't give your hardware the misnomer of Badass Gaming PC if it's just a bunch of parts that could be a Badass Gaming PC. Travis.
All right, Travis and I, we did some emailing, we talked, we bonded. Now to hold you guys off for a bit, in our early, without the fresh drivers, loaded run, 3D Mark Vantage set to the extreme presets gave us 6,933 3D marks, and on the performance presets, 9,684 3D marks. These are not our final numbers. We're going to get some stuff configured and call you guys back. That said, we've got some issues over the whole concept of tuning Vista for gaming performance. In the words of the most hardcore benchmarking maven we know, ExtremeTech.com's Jason Cross, mostly it's not needed. Yeah, you can shut off a lot of services and reduce the desktop bells and whistles to lower memory utilization, but that's not going to get you very far. Most of the services you disable are pretty important to leave on for various other reasons, like safety, networking access, or searching. Tweaking Vista to use less memory isn't going to do much because a lot of that stuff gets paged out of memory when you run a full screen game anyway. The only stuff you can do and actually get a real performance benefit is the same stuff you do under XP or anything else. Make sure you don't have virus software running scans while you game, make sure you're not running a bunch of background resident programs, that sort of thing. Nothing Vista specific. Doing things like disabling the search indexer or limiting what it indexes shouldn't impact gaming because these processes aren't supposed to do anything while your machine is busy with other stuff like gaming anyway. There are some guides on the net that show lower memory utilization by a small amount here and there when you're at the desktop, but you'll notice they don't actually test game performance before and after and show any kind of market increase in performance because, frankly, there isn't any. Jason Cross goes on and says, my best Vista gaming optimization tips are: 1. Make sure you're up to date on all the Windows updates. 2, make sure you have the latest drivers, not just graphics drivers, which are key, but audio drivers, chipset drivers, BIOS, all that stuff. 3, not a software configuration thing, but having 2 GB of RAM or more is always a great idea because games just use a lot of RAM. These things will result in a lot more gaming performance improvement than you'll ever get fiddling around with the inner workings of the operating system. Jason Cross, as always, is rocking the internet over at ExtremeTech.com along with Lloyd Case and the rest of the Extreme Tech crew. It is a great source of graphics, motherboard, and CPU reviews, and we want to thank him for the good information. And yes, Travis, we promise mad benchmark numbers next week.
As we've said, we handpicked some amazing components and put together a badass gaming machine that will be given away to one lucky winner.
Today,
well,
in fact.
That day is today, my friend. Can I get a drum roll, please? Now, through the power of pure random chance, the winner is... Yay! Congratulations. Yay!
Woohoo!
Woohoo! You win the NVIDIA gaming PC and the following games, BioShock and Crysis, conveniently pre-installed, of course.
We even left the install discs in the box.
We are so awesome. Just clear some room for this tank because it's a biggie.
It's going to take up a little space,
Just
but it's going to look gorgeous doing it.
I mean, I would actually just remodel my whole house to match it.
Maybe just put a big Texzilla sign in your house.
That too. We'll send you one. Not really. Now, if you didn't win, don't pout. You still have a chance to win free passes to Envision 2008 next week in lovely San Jose, California. For more info, check out the link below.
All right, we talked about NVIDIA's huge 3-day visual computing show, including all the cool gaming events a couple of weeks ago, but it gets better. Trisha Helfer from Battlestar Galactica and Jamie
Jamie Heineman.
Jamie Heineman.
You gotta watch more Mythbusters.
I watch Mythbusters. I don't really pay attention to Jamie or Adam's
Jamie
last
Heineman
names.
and Adam Savage from Mythbusters are going to be there, which is freaking awesome.
Yes, they are. And Envision, in fact, is right around the corner next week, and we're going to give away free general admission tickets to the event, including access to all exhibits, the workshops, the keynotes, live dignation taping, the Electronic Sports World Cup Grand Finals, the HD Digital Theater, the GeForce LAN Party, Digital Art Gallery, and quite a bit more. Now remember, to enter your chance to win, please go to www.revision3.com/Envision tickets to submit your name and email address, and don't forget to mark your calendars. San Jose, California, August 25th to the 27th for Envision 08, the world's greatest visual computing show. Go to www.envision2008.com and get all the details. Remember, support us by supporting our sponsors. All right, Veronica, you ready to tackle some more tough? You're doing that thing again.
What?
That thing.
What? That's
not quite
my
a leer,
expectant look. Like I'm expecting you to say something that I should respond to.
I think it's your I'm gonna gut you like a fish look. That's good to know.
It's kind of like this.
Our next email comes to us from a viewer that wants to create podcast content on the go. Hey, I'm looking for a high-quality portable recording device for podcasting. What do you recommend? Max. It just so happens, if you guys remember from last week, we gave Veronica just such a device to test with her down in her trip to Sin City.
Yes, indeed. I spent 3 debauchery-filled days at the show, and I recorded everything with this.
Those will be available at Veronica Belmont Gets Debaucherous in LasVegas.com.
Someone's going to buy that now. And as promised, I did record an episode of Sword and Laser on this here device with Tom.
Really?
And I am actually pretty thrilled with the results. It sounds really nice. I mean, it's not bad at all. You know, I guess I kind of have higher standards because I kind of, went to school for this thing, as I tell you guys every single episode.
You're used to working in like professionally outfitted radio
so
studios where the microphones are worth more than my first 3 cars put together.
Exactly. So I was a little dubious of the device at first, but after using it for an extended amount of time being an hour, I like what came out of it. So let's take a look at some of the features. I mean, up here on top we have inputs for 2 XLR jacks. So that's nice. You can take your fancy microphones and use them on the go with this little guy. It also has a 3.5mm mini jack microphone input. It's got 2 built-in microphones for stereo recording with independent gain control, which is nice. So if it's closer to one person than another person, you can crank it up a little bit and make it work.
Do they adjust?
Yes, you can point them. You can actually direct them towards the speaker.
Oh, funky.
So if you're at a meeting and someone's talking.
Or a concert.
Yeah, and you can record directly to your iPod just by plugging it in. It works with the Nano and the classic iPods, not with Touch or iPhone though. Although I didn't test it with those, so it could, I guess. I just didn't want to mess it up.
It's hard to see.
It wouldn't really mess anything up, but I happen to have a classic iPod on hand, so I used it with that one. It has master level gain control. You can change it from mono to stereo. It's got these nice LED indicators to see when your gain is going up and when there's sound input coming in.
Oh, nice.
So you can monitor it right here. It's got master volume level, as I mentioned, and then you can change the source right in front, right there. It takes 2 AAA batteries, so you don't have to have it plugged in if you don't want to. It has a headphone jack here on the bottom.
So you can monitor.
Yeah, and it also has a built-in speaker, too, for monitoring on the go.
Oh, that's funny. So 16-bit, 44 kilohertz stereo straight to the...
That is correct.
Will it record to anything other than an iPod?
No.
So you must have an iPod.
You must have an iPod. That is true. I guess maybe you could... No, I don't even think it would recognize it if you just tried to plug like an audio out from the headphone jack.
That would be a very strange... May I hold it?
Yeah, you may. It's pretty light, huh?
Actually, it's extremely light. And it looks like it should feel chintzier than it does.
No, it's solid. And it has a little jack right here for putting it on a stand. I don't know why you would really want to do that, but you could.
Yeah, well,
like if you had a camera stand, you could sit it there and then, actually, and it would just record things as it was standing up there. I don't know where that voice came from.
Neither do I, but it was really strange. You recorded an episode of Sword and Laser with it?
Yes.
Did you use external mics or the internal mics?
I used the external mics. Okay. We just brought a couple of like 58s with us, I think.
The eponymous 58.
Exactly, yeah. We like those, we enjoy them. And the episode is up this week, actually, so you can go and listen to it at swordandlaser.com, episode number 11.
And that's a podcast about what?
Science fiction and fantasy book club. Anyhow, but I have to say though, I mean, it sounded a lot better than our normal quality with just over Skype with USB headsets. I know, we're lazy like that,
so
but
the
it works.
Porsche is a lot faster than a 38, like, and yeah, it's...
Don't make fun of me. That's what we have available to us, and so we use it.
A lot of people record
Snob.
podcasts over Skype. It's just, you know, that's just a very low baseline for comparison. So it sounded heaps better than the low baseline of Skype.
It did sound heaps better, and since I had it mono, I could actually then go back and edit the tracks independently, and
Very
then
nice.
yeah, so I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's not out yet. I think it's coming out in September, and it's going to run you about $120.
That's not bad.
So
That's
if you
actually
need
for-
something, if you don't have anything currently that you're using that's maybe not working out too well for you, this is either be a good replacement or a good starting item for someone who's looking to get into podcasting.
The Belkin GoStudio.
The Belkin GoStudio.
$120 is cheaper than I thought that would have cost.
I think it's time for one more email. This one comes from Sorbo. Ooh, I wonder if it's Kevin Sorbo.
He's so pretty.
Mr. Handsome Hercules. Hercules,
Last week was
Hercules.
Phelps, this week's it's Sorbo.
What are you saying, Patrick?
Not a thing, I was mumbling.
Anyhow, he says, I have a motherboard with 2 onboard Ethernet ports. Is there some way I can configure them to be used simultaneously to speed up the internet? I've read bits and pieces about having them connect to different networks, but I want to use both of them for the internet to squeeze out as much juicy bandwidth as possible. Patrick and Veronica, you two and your show totally rock. Thanks. Ah, the dream. Combining, say, cable and DSL modems for faster downloads, or alternately, 2 connections to your cable DSL router.
Yeah, well, having 2 connections to the same connection to the internet is not going to make anything faster. And there have been products on the market that would do things like take a cable connection and a DSL connection and parse your packet request so it would take advantage of the bandwidth of both. But you know what? The short answer is that we spent a long time researching this. I spent a long time researching this in the past, and I revisited it again. And it's one of those things that just it's an idea. And the reality is that most servers at the other end of your downloads or web servers don't have that much bandwidth to send you. So your existing cable or DSL connection is like this big, and the amount of data it can stream to you is like this big, which is to say you already have more bandwidth than you can use. Yeah, especially if
So
you're trying
bottom line is it works, but not well.
The theory works. In reality,
theory works.
You rarely run into any products that'll work, or you end up spending like, it would be less expensive to pay more per month for your cable or DSL line than to get like 2 separate devices to try to, reconcile the inputs. It's a nice theory.
You could just use that little tip that we gave last week or the week before about, throttling bandwidth away from other
To everyone
other
else on the
people's
network.
devices in the house and using it all for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, generally
That's evil.
speaking, the bottleneck isn't your connection to the internet source in your house. It's this server at the other end, the amount of bandwidth it's willing to give you. Now, if what most people really use this for is if they're doing like they have internet connection sharing, or if it's being used as a server, or stuff like that.
Stuff like that.
Stuff like that.
I think that's all we got today.
No more?
I think that's the end of the show.
I'm so sorry. Thank you all for watching. We live on your questions, so please email us, techzilla@revision3.com, tech help, product reviews, how-tos, you ask us, we'll do it. But we need those emails, so don't be shy. Send them into techzilla@revision3.com.
Yes, and even better, send us a video question so we can see your pearly whites on screen. Remember to load them up on the YouTubes and send us a link. No attachments, please. It's hard on our email servers, as we tell you over and over again, but you're getting better with it, so thank you. That's good. And as always, you can visit our forums at revision3.com/forum. You can find out more details on the site. And be sure to catch the Back to School Intern Survival Guide playing right after the show.
Includes how to put out a flaming roommate.
That's not true.
No,
Produced by our very own Revision 3 summer interns. Oh, so that's what they've been doing all this time.
No logging tape for them.
I was wondering about that.
That explains the beer in the cooler, too.
Well, anyhow, they've got the 411 on how to prepare for the new school year, so check it out.
Right after the show.
Right after the show.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Until next time, you've been watching
Techzilla.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Here at Techzilla, we know a few things about being passive-aggressive, or just flat-out aggressive, really, and so we've come to love, don't you cough at me. I was trying to think of something passive-aggressive to say.
And get ready for benchmarks. If we have time at the end of the show, we can do a do-over, and if not, then not a problem.
Gun show.
You so hardcore.
Tired of being alone, having no friends? Well, quit feeling sorry for yourself and pick up the brand new Netflix Roku. The Netflix Roku player is only $99 and lets you explore over 12,000 different movies and TV shows. The Netflix Roku will make it even easier to watch some of your favorite movies instantly with just a click of a button. It's super compact, has simple setup, and a sleek design. Bring it anywhere there is an HD TV or virtually any TV or home theater setup. No monthly fees to deal with, just one low cost of $99. Watch the movie or TV show as many times as you would like with no additional cost. Just a one-time payment of $99 can get you thousands of movies and more with the Netflix Roku. But most importantly, you'll get friends, food, a couch, an A in Film 101, you'll feel better about yourself, a girlfriend, and you'll be the life of the party. So remember, next time you go to your friend's dorm room, you can always bring your Netflix Roku, so you don't have to sit around twiddling your thumbs like some of the other interns who haven't gotten one yet. I'm Michael Benatar, and this was my Revision 3 Back to School Intern Survival Guide brought to you by Jawbone. It's super lightweight and has a cool noise canceling feature called the Noise Assassin, so you'll look cool and sound cool on campus.